A wave of violence has hit Manipur. In the past 1 week, the state has witnessed 4 back-to-back drone attacks. Apart from this, a former police officer's vacant residence has been set ablaze and 5 people have been killed by a rocket strike at a former chief minister's residence. This is not all. 4 people have also been killed in a shootout in Jiribam. The loss of lives amidst barrage of drone and rocket strikes has prompted the state police to deploy an anti-drone system in the region. Additionally, the centre has bolstered troop presence and has constituted a committee to probe the drone attacks. Meanwhile, in response to the tense situation, Chief Minister Biren Singh has met with coalition government legislators and briefed Governor Acharya about the law and order conditions. Well, it's time to tackle this and save Manipur from a proxy war. Let's not be naive. Sophisticated modern warfare techniques are being used by the insurgents. These are the same methods that are being used in Ukraine as well. How can the insurgents get access to these drones in the first place? How do they know how to operate these drones? Who has trained them? Well, it's obvious that someone's fishing in troubled waters, and if so, whose hand is behind this recent spate of attacks? Joining us at this point is Major General G.G. Dwivedi, Strategic Affairs expert, to discuss this further. We also have with us Major General Sudhakarji, Defence expert. Major General J.K.S. Parihar, Defence analyst, also joins us live. R.V.S. Mani, former Under Secretary, is also live with us on the broadcast. Let me begin with you first. R.V.S. Mani, what is causing this latest spate of violence in Manipur? What do you make of the situation? R.V.S. Mani, can you hear me? Okay, I think we're having some trouble there with his connection. Let me try and rope in Major General Parihar if he can hear me. Major General Parihar, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can.
Major General Parihar, what is causing this latest strife?
It's, I would say there are multiple factors are engaged here with the, which has given the trigger to the, all these extremist activities. We all know that the cookies and Metis conflict is going on for quite some time. But here, as it was, if you recollect, the former Prime Minister of Bangladesh has cautioned a few months ago about the some kind of a nexus which was developing in the northeast and make it a separate independent state. So that could be another reason. Then since the Myanmar has got the military coup and thereafter so many cookies are, there is a illegal migration has taken place, though the population in the hills area is increasing. This is the one reason. Second is the drug trafficking, which has escalated. And third, the changes in the Bangladesh. Obviously, they have also got the access of the Chinese weapons, drones and rocket now with the extremist group, and with these, with the cookies and others infiltrating from Myanmar. There is a possibility that the anti-Indian elements, other than the local lights, some other also has entered and creating nuisance. So it is a very, very serious condition so far, not only for the Northeast, but for the entire country, because this drone and all other access we may like to see, we may not like to see, but we may have to see in the other part of the country used by the anti-social and anti-national elements.
Yes, Major General Sudhakarji, come in here because this is very concerning, of course, and we discussed it earlier on another program, the access of drones for these insurgents. This is very, very concerning. How are they getting them? Who is providing them? Weaponry is obviously something that will concern the intelligence establishment within India.
Uday, good evening. Thank you so much. Often I have shown this book once again. At the cost of repeating, I'm showing this book again. Very interesting. And all analysts, commentators, they would do good if they can read and reread the book. It is as if the script had been written a couple of years back, that it would happen in this manner. This is a new normal of modern warfare. And the Black Swan Day of 7th October 2023 had given clear indications that the warfare in 21st century is going to assume a different kind of a connotation and signature. So maybe it is just the beginning, and times ahead will put us through a journey of new dimensions, witnessing new dimensions in this sector. So hope it doesn't happen. Being a military man, I only hope that we take adequate preventive measures. But as things unfold gradually in an incremental manner, I think there is much more we should be expecting and be prepared to actually thwart it or effectively counter it. So now your questions, whether there is an external factor and there is an internal factor. In external factor, like my preceding co-panelist had beautifully covered, you see, there is an element of illegal arms and weapons which are getting migrated or being smuggled across from Riuli in Yunnan province, across Myanmar-China border, through Myanmar into Manipur border. Although we have been claiming that ever since NewsX and such like channels started making a lot of noise, the government of India had taken steps to fence that 390 odd kilometers along Manipur. I don't think, when I joined the dots of my research in past 3 days, I don't think fencing has been done. Maybe the initiative, maybe things may have moved on fine, but fencing has not been done. Second thing, external factor is the drug money. Let's apprise our viewers that there is a crackdown on the poppy cultivators in countries like Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia, as per my latest research. I was, in fact, very delighted to learn about one thing from poppy to coffee. This is the slogan in Thailand today. Wherever they were carrying out poppy cultivation, that has been converted into coffee plantation. So that is the kind of, what am I trying to indicate? I'm trying to indicate that the areas under which the poppy cultivation is to take place in Golden Triangle is reducing from the east and expanding towards the west, that is Manipur, Nagaland, Mizoram, etc., etc. Third point I want to bring out is, you spoke about where are these drones coming from. It is a warfare which is being witnessed in Ukraine. It was witnessed in Israel, in Hamas, in the Gaza Strip, and still being witnessed. How has it come here? It is nothing new. When we witnessed in Ukraine, if you take your mind back, in Myanmar itself, opposite Manipur, there is a province called a Chin province. And the Chin soldiers or the rebels, they had been making these crude platforms of drones, and they have been carrying out successful trials. They have carried out dropping of bombs. The question which is to be asked is, where are they getting the warheads from? Because a mortar shell cannot be produced by a crude manner, although reports are coming conflicting to that. These are mortar shells. I have got the video clips sent by somebody reliable, which shows that the mortar bomb is being launched. It is being fixed to the platform, and it is being released from the aerial platform, and it goes and hits the target. That is the kind of mechanism which these people are applying, which they had successfully tried out in Chin province a couple of months back by the Chin rebels. So therefore, it is nothing new. But the issue is that where are these mortar shells coming from? And the kind of recoveries which have been made, if the photographs have to be believed, well, I have my doubts. These are Grad-P, these are long tubular kind of weapon system, and the shells are carried by 4 people. They have got a rocket-like, tail rotor. It's a huge size, which the photographs are depicting. These are not typical 82 mm mortar. Third thing I want to highlight is the range. Range so far established is that they are firing from a launch pad which is 3.5 kilometers to 14.5 kilometers. I hope I am wrong. If it is longer range, then it is dangerous. It assumes the proportion and profile of missile attack, which is very, very extremely dangerous. So the fourth thing that I want to highlight is that the cross-border movement which is taking place, whether it has stopped or not, government notifications have been actually issued. There are supposed to be checks and balances. Whether it is happening or not, I don't know. Now you come to the internal factor. Uday, there is a very important issue. There are some formal and legal aspects which have to be looked into. There are some technical aspects. When I talk about the formal and legal aspect, my mind goes to the SOO signed in 2008. Has it been forfeited? The suspension of operation? If not, how can the cookies or Mai Tai? For us, we do not want any of the parties to come into a confrontation stage. We want peace and harmony to come back to the valley as early as possible. We want this violence to stop forthwith. But has this suspension of operations been suspended? If it is not suspended, how is that one of the stakeholders which is a signatory to the agreement? How have they launched? If they have launched, then I have following recommendation. First and foremost thing is that we isolate the area wherever it is, the shells have fallen in past 3-4 days. We need to isolate. we need to carry out some kind of analysis, which direction it is coming from. The kind of inputs which I am getting, the direction is well established or it is about to be established. At what distance these tubular structures are being fired, or is it being fired only from the aerial platform? So far, there is one thing which is conclusive, that is all the shells which have been dropped, they have been dropped from the aerial platform. It is being guided manually at a distance of 3.5 to 4 kilometers, and it is from the nearby hills. Which are these hills then need to be correctly identified, for which I suppose the central forces have pressed in the aerial platforms to carry out reconnaissance, to carry out surveillance. There is a need to pin down, or at least, pinpoint the locations, possible locations, so that the military operation by the central forces can be carried out. The question which comes up, Uday, is that, is the Armed Forces Special Power Act applicable? If not, can military go inside without the Armed Forces Special Power Act? Is police good enough? Assam Rifle has got judicial power, but can they go and carry out cordon and search and apprehend people without the legal support? These are the questions which are coming to my mind. In absence of all this, the government of India would do well if they apply themselves in a pragmatic form and identify the challenges, the real accurate problems, and go in for a lasting and permanent solution in a time spectrum of certain things to be done immediately, short term, certain things have to be done in the near future, and certain things have to be done as so. Perhaps the demand of both the communities, one is demanding for the scheduled tribe status, the other is demanding for an autonomous council. Now, is that in order in the present day confederation or the constitution that we have? Some mature interlocutor may have to be actually nominated with a selected, capable, competent people to apply themselves and find a lasting solution. Only then, till then, the military has to go in to provide prophylactic as also very, very close support to the civilians so that there is no panic. The attack is coming in a manner, in such an indiscriminate, unpredictable manner, that we need to ensure safety and security of our local people so that they do not go in for a kind of a forced migration. Back to you, Uday.
All right, let me in fact take that to Major General G.D. Dwivedi as well. Major General Dwivedi, now this is of course a concerning development. According to you, who is behind this latest strife? What has caused this latest round of violence? How concerning is it, Major General Dwivedi? And also, what do you make of the sophisticated weaponry that has been discovered? Should this be of utmost concern for our intelligence agencies and of course also for the dispensation?
Well, Uday, those of us who follow Manipur closely, these developments should not come as a surprise. And I start with a word of caution that until you are served in Manipur, you will not understand the ground reality of Manipur. Coming back to the current situation, you see, you cannot pick one instance and then go on to other instances. You have to take the whole look in totality. Since 3rd May and today 16 months, this situation has been on the boil. All the government has done is only to manage the situation and not find a lasting solution. Now that's where the problem lies. And in this meantime, both the sides, I commanded 57 Division for 2 years in this area, and 57 Division is still there. That in this time, both sides have armed themselves. You know, about 4,000 odd weapons are looted. Hardly few hundred have come back to the security forces. So today, there is a war zone. In the hill section, the Kukis have established localities, defended localities. And in the plains, in the valley, it's the Metis. So therefore, these two forces are eyeball to eyeball. And wherever they get an opportunity, they go and strike. That is the ground situation. Second point is that these groups have been in the insurgency or militancy, not today. They have been there for the last 4 decades. And they are well armed, well trained. And let me tell you, the Kukis groups, the SO agreement was signed in my headquarters in 2005. And KLA was defunct organization. The viable militant groups were the Metis groups, UNLF, PLA, KVKL. These Kukis were non-entities. But now they had taken up the arms because they are actually cornered. Three, four things which need to be understood in the larger perspective. See, we are not going to minor tactics. These troops on the ground know that. But what I want to tell you that today's state administration is different. The chief minister has lost the trust of the people, and therefore it is beyond the state. Only day before yesterday, DGP, he had come out very clearly that we cannot handle the situation. We need central forces. And on the other side, Chief Minister's son-in-law says that the central forces are not required because they are doing no good job. So point number one, that we need to actually change the administration. Point number two, we need to bring in combined headquarters. I know when I was commander division, of course, situation are different. That time we are fighting against the militants, against the insurgents. Today there are two communities, they are at each other. So we need to establish combined headquarters and the security forces must take over because state police has no capability, neither the confidence. Point number three, external factors. After 5th August, the situation in Bangladesh has changed drastically. What we had a friendly government, today we have a inimical, hostile government. And therefore, the elements, they will exploit the situation. And cookies in Myanmar have the relation. They are cookies and the tribes in Myanmar, they are closely related. So therefore, it doesn't take much effort to get the arms, equipment, anything you want. And fourthly, 1,640 kilometer border cannot be met. Just cannot be met because the terrain is so difficult. There are jungles in which you cannot traverse more than 1 kilometer in a day. So therefore, there's a foolhardiness to think that the border can be insulated. My four recommendations are, first and foremost, we need to now start looking at the solutions and not trying to, only manage the situation. Secondly, it's the central government has to step in. I think it's the time that army has to step in. Point number three, both the sides have to disarm because when they have arms, they have all the liberty to go for each other. And this last 5 days happening in Jiribam, incident Jiribam is not part of the main Manipur is quite detached. Now they will always be at each other. And fourthly, the forces across, whether it is Bangladesh, ISI, or the Jamaat, whether it is Myanmar, or it is China, they are all waiting for the opportunity. You give an opportunity, and they will exploit it. So all I can say now, in summation, Manipur is the dire state, requires central government to come in, army and these are security forces must take over the situation, and we must now go for the solution and not manage the situation.
RVS Mani, come in here. If you're back with us now, I was trying to ask you earlier, RVS Mani, on your take on this fresh round of violence. Who do you believe is behind it, and how concerning is the recovery of sophisticated weaponry of drones from the insurgents who have been responsible for the latest attacks? Who is giving them this sophisticated weaponry is another big question that many are asking now. How is this being smuggled across the border?
Precisely, the telltale signs are very clear. It's not today. Whenever there is a hostile government in Bangladesh, the Indian insurgent groups of Northeast have become very, very powerful. And unfortunately, 5th August onwards, that situation has occurred. Not that, prior to that also 1 year, we have been mollycoddling in the Manipur issue, not taking the problem by its neck. As General Dwivedi pointed out, it is a war. Let us say it is a war, internal war against the state. It needs, whether it is an ethnic conflict or it is whatever it is, the support systems are coming from across the border. We all know that with the Myanmar border toward the Arakan Yoma, you have that no man's land of free movement of 40 kilometers. Again, there are inter-state conflicts between the states in conflict, which is again triggered from that area. Now, Bangladesh has also become hostile. Tripura, 2 days back, of course, the Honorable, the government of India had signed a peace deed. How long? Because the need for the the militants, etc., is getting revived. Similarly, in Northeast, Northeast is a unique area, and now we have an ethnic crisis of confidence between the two parties. Even at this stage, a very matured interlocutor, not high sounding, but a very matured interlocutor who can communicate with both sides first. At the same time, let us not forget to stop any further escalation, stop this through a unified command as we had. Let us take it like what we had taken it as Kashmir of 90s. That type of a management control has to be taken, unified command has to be established, and the central forces have to be brought under one umbrella. State government has been failing repeatedly. Let us appreciate that. In addition to that, this has a potential because we all know where almost three of the hostile neighboring countries and now are sending or supporting in some way or the other. They will certainly change the checkpost. So we also have to ensure that while the Central Unified Command can take control of the Manipur situation, it doesn't spill into a militancy in Nagaland or a disturbance in Mizoram. These are all potential issues which are there. So a holistic solution, the Northeast strategy needs because till the last few years back, till the Manipur occurred, Northeast has been progressing. It has been on the agenda as a developmental corridor. But now this is a very disturbing thing. Is it an attempt to disrupt the juggernaut of development in Northeast? Is a very basic question. All other things have followed after that. Who is behind this? Whether the Chinese grey market which used to penetrate through Northeast, are they affected? They are trying to disrupt the development juggernaut, or it is from the India insurgent groups which are hiding in Bangladesh, or from the Myanmar, or it is a joint effort of all three of them. These are all the possible reasons, and the solutions. I go with the Jaldi, take it as a war on India, set up a unified command, don't trust them. At the same time, a matured interlocutor to talk to both sides and take both sides on board. That is a very emergent and a contingent requirement immediately. Thank you, Uday. Thank you very much.
Yes, Major General Sudhakarji, please go ahead.
Without meaning to offend any party, any stakeholder,
Yes.
if we are looking for practical solution, apart from what General Dwivedi has highlighted, let me just suggest there is a requirement to engage with multiple stakeholders opposite the borders, whether it is Tatmadaw or the militant outfit, 26 groups, NUG, they have formed, or anybody. You, in today's environment, in 21st century, you simply can't say this chap is good, so we carry on with him and we discard the others. No, we need to engage with the stakeholders, number one. Number two, it is simply a fact well known to the environment that the axis of interest of China and India, they are at crossroads. They're intersecting each other. The China does not want India to expand and extend its Act East policy, and India wants to extend its Look East policy into Act East policy. Third and most important point, Uday, whether we accept or not, I didn't want to mention this, but since you are bringing out the brass tacks and the reality, take out the missionaries from Northeast, particularly from Manipur. The day you take out the missionaries, I am telling you, half your problem will be solved.
Yes. Okay, Major General Dwivedi also has a quick reaction. I'm beginning to run out of time. Yes.
Today, I just want to make two quick points. I think Mr. Mani also reinforced. Point is, first and foremost, it is a national issue now. It's no more state issue, and nation has to step in. The point number two, we have to first sort out the in-house before we start looking at the external factor. In-house is that two communities today are at war with each other. We need to bring in trust and bring them together, because otherwise it will spread to the Northeast per se. And thirdly, we need to have very clear Northeast policy, and especially for Manipur, because these band-aid solutions are not going to deliver. We have to have a very concrete national policy, because that's the call of the time. Uday.
All right. Major General Parihar, last word to you. Is it naive to believe that someone is not trying to fish in troubled waters? What is needed going ahead?
It's not a Manipur crisis, it is a national crisis, and Government of India has to rise on the occasion, and as it is rightly mentioned about the missionaries, and the political interest has to be kept aside, uniform forces to be taken over under the presidential rule, and we have to ensure to curb the immigrants, illegal immigrants coming from the Myanmar and other places.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.